Hey guys, welcome back, and today I'm going to be doing another review slash podcast with the Spitfire Mark II. Now, to get started, and for starters, of course, the Spitfire Mark II is the best arcade plane ever. Also, I wouldn't say the best realistic mode plane. Well, because in realistic mode, negative G's can be very frustrating. They are worse than in historic, which is where we are at now. Now, the Spitfire Mark II is highly maneuverable, can turn with zeros no problem. Armament can match the zeros, of course, no problem. Sure, the A6M30 has two 20mm cannons and two 50 calibers, but just thing mixed up with it with four 30 calibers and its ammo. Now, the Spitfire Mark II is basically just to turn fight. B and Z, you could do that, but you'd be better off turn fighting. Unless you're diving on a bomber, of course. But of course, you could always turn back around. Now, this thing is, it has a very high region. How do you say this? It can, when you're on fire, it can just keep flying. Well, you're going to be gliding, but you're going to be gliding without losing all your energy. Now, if you're not satisfied with just review slash podcast, you might want to go to Bros Films and look at his Spitfire Mark II review. I'm a fan of his, of course. But the thing is, the Spitfire Mark II is like the killer of all German planes. The 190 could try to outturn you, and it eventually will. Trust me, I faced them, and they have outturned me before. But this thing can still outturn them longer. This thing is honestly the best airplane in the game, period. It's also very popular in arcade mode. You'll probably see most players with Spitfires than any other plane. Of course, that's once in a while. One time I went to just match where everybody was just using Spitfire Mark 1s, Spitfire Mark 2s, and Spitfire Mark 5s. Now, this is not a coincidence. Well, maybe it is. But they did not, join or either notify anybody. They just joined arcade mode with their favorite aircraft. Just thing. Now, this is the thing. When you go across a Stuka, it'll be easy kill. But just make sure one thing. Do not go screaming down on them. They're actually pretty hard to hit. I mean, they're easy to kill, but they're pretty hard to hit when you're screaming down on them. Because they're so slow and maneuverable. They could probably outturn you, but definitely not outturn a Hurricane Mark I. As you can see here, my Spitfire is turning rapidly. You could probably turn forever and not stall. Maybe you could, but I mean, you could turn and never stall. One thing is, when you do not want to stall and you're in a tight turn fight that you do not want to quit, you probably would be better off using your flaps. That's a true fact. I've used my flaps many times, and when I was in a very tight turning furball, it never goes ending well. Now, sadly, the Spitfire Mark II will not come with any bombs whatsoever, but it will come with two armament options. You'll be able to have 8 30 calibers, or you can buy two 20mm cannons and 4 30 calibers. Now, the best one would probably be the setup with the cannons, unless you just want to shred Stukas only and shred some HE-111s. You'll probably be good with the original armament, the 830 calibers. just cause you're probably gonna want to spend a lot of time hunting down bombers and not using a lot of ammo. Also just hammer it down. Now, this is the thing. The Spitfire Mark II isn't a climber. Sure, it can climb better than the Stuka, maybe even the BF-110, and the Spitfire Mark I, and a few other aircrafts, but it's not a climber. You could probably climb very high, but not like how I'm climbing right now. I'm only at 5,000 feet, which is not that good if you're trying to climb a 109 or an FW-190. But this is the thing. The Spitfire Mark II and Spitfire Mark I and pretty much all British planes can fly at 90 mph, even 80 mph. Just watch.
Well, I got a triple kill on critical loss.
You can see that I'm losing speed rapidly, and I put my flaps at 100%, and look how I'm climbing. And you know, this thing is actually pretty hard to lose speed unless you're in a very tight furball. Look at this. I am literally nosed up with 90 degrees, and I'm at 110 mph, not stalling. This thing's stall speed is 60-something miles per hour. As you can see, 90 mph, not stalling, 80 mph. I usually start at 82 or either 7 or 69. Look at this thing climb. I'm literally climbing at 90 mph, which is very good if you're trying to climb something slow. I mean, if you face anything that's not British and they have the same climb rate as you, they'll be screwed. They won't be able to climb after you, because you're going to need to level out and, of course, get speed. You're just going to be climbing at 90 mph or 80 mph. It doesn't really matter. Now, this thing can climb pretty good, but is not an out-climber. It could probably outclimb few low-tier aircraft, but when it comes to high-tier, you do not want to go close to outclimbing. Now, this is the thing. Do not try to dive after somebody in realistic, especially if you're nose down. Now, let's say if you're going to do a split S. Sure, if you go like this and turn like that, you'll probably not have any energy starvation. But let's do that again the other way. Sure, I might not get any energy starvation, but in realistic, you would. Try to dive some like this. You would probably lose lose your head. And do not air spawn whatsoever in Spitfires, even Hurricanes. Cause the problem is the energy starvation. Your energy starvation is going to be non-stop. And I mean non-stop. I could show a demonstration, but I'm too lazy right now. You'd be unable to fly your aircraft because your RPM would be way too low. As you can see now, my RPM is fine. Let's try to get this RPM lower. Now we're going down to show you. Maybe it won't happen, but it can happen, and it probably will. Of course, nothing, but it can happen, and it probably will. Now, I recommend the Spitfire Mark II over everything. And I mean everything. You can rack up so many kills with this thing. And it can outturn everything. And I mean everything. Especially if you're using your flaps. This thing is impossible to stall if you're in a nice climb. Unless you're doing what I'm doing right now and screwing up. Although this thing is a very nice stunt thing. The A6M3 and A6M2 can probably take off at 60-something miles per hour. Which is nice and impressive. But, I mean, you gotta admit, what can climb at 90 miles per hour? No problem. The Spitfire. But this is the thing, energy starvation. So that's pretty much it. The only thing I'm probably gonna say is buy the Spitfire. It's pretty much better than every single plane in the game. But other than that, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this podcast/review episode. Thanks for watching. Leave a big thumbs up and smash that subscribe button.